It's December 2nd. The president spent Thanksgiving with the troops in Afghanistan, and now he's headed back to Europe to attend a NATO meeting. Meanwhile, Speaker Nancy Pelosi is headed to Madrid for the UN Climate Conference. That conference was supposed to be in Chile, but got moved due to domestic unrest in the South American nation. No senior Trump administration officials are expected at the conference that focuses on one of the most important issues on the planet. Also this week, impeachment hearings have moved to the House Judiciary Committee. When it comes to testifying, put the Trump administration down as a no. As for us, we've got more news you might have missed from the campaign trail and a Trump administration policy decision that will impact millions. I'm Jamal Simmons. Here's why you should care. Big day for political news. We've got 3 developments to fill you in on. First, Montana Governor Steve Bullock is leaving the presidential race today. In an earlier era, Bullock would have been a superstar on the campaign trail, a governor from a more rural state where he was able to win over Republican and independent voters. Who wouldn't want that? But these aren't those days. From 1976 to 2000, 4 out of 5 American presidents were governors. Since then, maybe a dozen governors have run for president, and none of them have been nominated by either the Republican or Democratic parties. The only governor still in the Democratic race is former Massachusetts Chief Executive Deval Patrick. Our second political story is about another candidate facing hard times. California Senator Kamala Harris has seen a spate of stories detailing the problems in her faltering campaign. There are rival camps and dwindling poll numbers, and now staff departures. Kelly Mellenbacher, who was Harris's California State Operations Director, resigned over the Thanksgiving holiday, and she joined former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg's late entry campaign as Deputy Chief Operations Officer. After a recent round of layoffs and restructuring, Mellenbacher wrote a letter that leaked to press saying she had, quote, never seen an organization treat its staff so poorly. Not good at all. And finally, the surprise hit of the 2020 presidential campaign, Andrew Yang announced that he raised almost $750,000 in a single day after announcing a push to raise $2 million in a week. Yang's press secretary told The Hill that donations came from about 18,000 people for an average of $41 per donation. You know why you should care. The campaign for president's getting down to the voting. Even if a candidate doesn't win, they might have an impact on somebody else who's running, or at least get a few delegates that allow them to negotiate at the convention with the ultimate nominee.
I believe we should move to make college affordable for everybody. There are some voices saying, well, that doesn't count unless you go even further, unless it's free even for the kids of millionaires. But I only want to make promises that we can keep.
Presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg released that ad on Thanksgiving morning, and some are calling Mayor Pete out for presumably taking aim at fellow candidates Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Sanders and Warren support tuition-free public college, and both have proposed plans that would eliminate existing student loan debt. Fervent Sanders supporter Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came to his defense and blasted Buttigieg on Twitter. Shortly after the campaign ad was posted, AOC tweeted, quote, this is a GOP talking point used to dismantle public systems. Just like rich kids can attend public school, they should be able to attend tuition-free public college. In the lengthy tweet thread, she also pointed out that it benefits students to have socioeconomically diverse classrooms. AOC, a progressive lawmaker who's made a name for herself on Capitol Hill, endorsed Sanders in a packed rally in Queens just last month. Buttigieg's campaign didn't answer the Hill's request for comment. Now, why you should care? Currently, there are 44 million Americans strapped by student loan debt, totaling around $1.5 trillion. AOC herself has been candid about the $19,000 student loan bill she's working to pay down. That debt is getting in the way of people buying homes, buying cars, getting married, and even having kids. The one thing that unites many Trump supporters and progressive Democrats is the desire to help more Americans get more income as soon as possible. Getting a handle on student loan debt could be one of the huge steps forward. New food stamp eligibility requirements could result in millions of people losing that benefit. President Donald Trump has proposed changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, they call it SNAP, in 40 states. And a study from the Urban Institute says these changes will alter who is eligible for food stamps. The changes would tighten work requirements and deductions for housing costs and would also alter enrollment procedures. The analysis found that if these restrictions were implemented last year, 3.7 million Americans and 2 million households would have been without food stamps, while millions of others would have had restrictions on their benefits and millions of students would have been without free or discounted school meals. These restrictions have garnered a significant amount of backlash. The United States Conference of Mayors is leading the charge. A letter signed by mayors in 70 different cities made the point that about 80% of households under SNAP include either a child, a person with a disability, or an elderly person. These changes do not affect everyone negatively, however. Mississippi, Arkansas, Virginia, and Tennessee, among other states, could actually see an increase in benefits. Now, why you should care? The United States is a pretty rich country, and there is no reason for anybody to go hungry. Yet many Americans suffer from hunger and malnutrition. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, 1 in 9 Americans struggled with food insecurity last year. I was one of those kids, and let me tell you, it's no picnic. The food choices weren't great, and the stigma and embarrassment of paying the cashier with public assistance was real. Most people would prefer to pay their own way. Politicians looking for programs to cut should think seriously before taking away food benefits from a family in need. Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos, and head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.